Yeah, let's get that going right now. There's some background music while we wait for everyone to filter in. Let's see that there. I guess I can switch this over. Hello, Long. Welcome. Today we're going to be reacting and actually rewatching the interview because I wanted to go through all the information from the interview that I learned about and kind of discuss everything that's coming next week. But I realized I was like, if we're going to be going over all the stuff in the interview, the best way to trigger my memory is just going to be watching the interview. So we're going to do our first react, and it's going to be to myself. Hey, I'm Clocked. Welcome. Going pretty well. Hey, Phantom. Thank you for the follow. We're like just a couple people away from hitting 1,000 followers, which will be awesome. Thank you, Andre. It went very well. Nice. I'm trying to think of what videos I want to do for the next couple days. Oh yeah, Viego is going to be awesome. Like, it's going to be so much fun. Hey, Enzo. Yeah, new update next week. It's going to be very good. That's actually why I wanted to do the interview when I did. It was like, at the earliest, next week is going to be an interview, or the next week's going to be the patch, maybe 2 weeks. So I was like, if I could get this out like right before the patch comes out, that'd be great. Yes, I'm stealing my own content for content. Yeah, it's going to be crazy how much stuff we have to do. There's going to be so many videos I have to make. How many shards do you think it will take to max out Viego? Yeah, that's definitely one thing that I should have asked. As always happens, like, I think this is going to happen every time you have an interview with someone. As soon as you end, you're like, oh, damn, I should have asked that. I think it'll probably... So, we have 6 star powers. It takes 40... Like, it keeps doubling, so it keeps... The last one we need is 40 for 3, so the next one, it could be 60, but it could go up to 80 for the 4-star. And then, like, the 5 and the 6, it might be in the hundreds. Like, over 100, so it's gonna be rough. Normally, the monthlies reset, like, the following month. So that is normally what how it works. Yeah, the grind never ends. Imagine using 250 shards. The maximum is 200. Yeah, it's what they... So the maximum might be 200. I hope they don't do that again, but that used to be the case where it took 40 shards to upgrade a champion, and the max was 40. Now they increased then to 50, which was better, but for the 6-star, it might be close to that 200. Are they raising the cap of wild shards? No, but they just did. Like, just a little while ago, they raised it to 200, and I think that was because of what's going on right here. We are getting 20... the only new champion we're getting is Viego. Viego is the only new champion we're getting. The other, when he mentioned the 20 champions, is the existing roster getting upgraded to being 6 stars. So essentially, they're going to almost play like a brand new champion, but they're still going to be the existing champions. Finish this launch for this week with your amazing OTK Nidalee build. Awesome. Yeah, 19 old and Viego is new. Yes. All right, let's go ahead and hop in. This is going to be interesting. There's definitely some stuff I learned from doing this that's going to be need to improve later. It's also weird watching myself.
Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. Just finished my interview with a senior game designer over at Riot, that being Brian Koplek. It was a fantastic interview. We got a lot of information revealed. Really look.
No, I don't think future Ace will be a 7-star champion. I think if they update him to the constellation system, then he's just going to be given like 2 extra star powers. And a feeling this to happen soon. Last expansion had very little content. They didn't release new monthly champ. Yes. Yeah, I figured this next month was probably going to be the new patch in Constellations.
Look forward to next week as we're going to get this massive update. But here is the interview.
Also, my beard was pretty great. So took a shower, and then right after that, I put a bunch of my beard product in, and it just really helped it be all nice and poofy. Really good. Didn't put any product in today, so it's all messy beard stream.
Enjoy. Live. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much to...
Oh, also, something that I didn't see anyone comment on, and I'm honestly disappointed. Do you guys not notice my background? Also, I'm going to move my camera, actually. Do you not see, like, in the corner? Do you see what these are? I guess here.
Massive.
Right here. Do you guys notice? Those are Minecraft characters. Like, if you play Minecraft, you can find all of these in game. And these are all ones that my wife loves Minecraft. I don't really play Minecraft myself, but she absolutely loves them. And I was like, I specifically put them into frame, and I was like, oh, someone's going to notice. Someone is going to mention how cute these characters are, and literally no one did. I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it's like they're absolutely amazing. I'll go and grab some of them. Okay, let's actually just increase this right now. Okay, so here is a adorable little... I need to move the mic closer. Here's an adorable little fish that my wife made. It is the cutest little thing. And then she made a full trader. And he has a little rope that you can see. And she made the whole llama to go with it, or alpaca. I don't actually know which is which, or which one it is. She also made a baby, there we go, a baby Enderman. Like, that's playing with a block of dirt. Yeah, there's a lot. And then, yeah, she made the panda over there. Always get my left and right wrong. And then also the parrot. So, yeah, that... I specifically changed around my background, being like, someone is going to notice the cute things that are in the background. Literally no one did. And I was very disappointed. There's so many comments. I did not see a single one mentioning the cute stuff that was there. Oh well. Anyways, that's what my wife does for fun.
Update. And thank you so much to Brian for the interview. Really is a privilege to be able to sit down somewhat and be able to...
I said somewhat because I was using my standing desk. So I was like, oh, I'm sitting down to talk with him. But I was like, I'm not even sitting. I'm standing this whole time. Can you make trader noises? I don't really... I know all their noises are just like grunts. But I don't know exactly.
talk with some of the people over at Riot. To start off, could you introduce yourself to the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody.
Also, this is something else I kind of didn't realize until partway through. I had his mic up too loud in comparison to mine. I didn't turn down his volume. That was one thing I forgot to do. I noticed that when I was like editing, I was like, damn it. Oh well.
So yeah, I'm Brian Koplik, or Riot B Koplik. I've been a lead game designer. I am a lead game designer on Legends of Runeterra. I've been on the team for just about 3 years now. I led the Gloria Navori and Heart of the Huntress card sets, but specifically Jack and Set are like the two champs that I really poured myself into. Those are my babies. And then I designed the path kits for Samira, Nidalee, Nico, Elise, and Nora.
He said this, and I was like, holy shit, this is like all of the most fun champions in the game. I was like, are you kidding me? These are like all of the best ones that are some of the most fun in all of Path of Champions. I was like, man, this guy, of all the designers, I'm so happy I got to interview him, because it was like all of those are such fun champions, and I had no idea. I didn't know who he designed at all. But yeah, hearing that, it was just like, wow, that's. I even say like those are like all my favorites. You can see it on my face, just be like, holy shit, all of those. Like he kept listing them, and every single one, I was like, all of these are just great.
And I did the initial set of Epic Relics, so pretty happy with those.
Yeah, definitely. Those are all some of my favorite champions. So
yeah.
Let's jump right into the questions. Up first, any update on Constellations? They were released or revealed a couple months ago, but we haven't really heard anything since.
Yes. So this is great. Nice start to the interview, because Constellations are launching next patch, which is May 22nd. So next week,
Awesome.
we've got 20 new champions. A bunch of new powers, upgrades to collect.
Yeah, this is the one bad thing, that it wasn't clear in the interview, and I've been trying to correct it everywhere I've seen it. Like he said 20 new champions, and so everyone immediately thinks 20 brand new champions to the game. And like I thought that myself too, and it wasn't until after the interview where, like, before and after, I got to chat with him a little bit. And after he clarified that it was Viego, and then the other 20 are the older champions, but that this is the one thing a lot of people were getting confused about, which, like, it's not super clear here. So that's why I'm trying to clarify, because pretty much every single patch, it's like, it's a great patch, but then there's like one thing that just like messes everything up, or like it spoils it. So like last patch, everything was great except Vex wasn't great, which was sad. So like there's pretty much always something that holds the patch back. I didn't want this to be that something. So I've been trying to correct everywhere, like, no, don't get your hopes up. It's not 20 brand new champions. That is not the case, because if people go into the patch with that expectation and then they only see Viego, people are going to feel ripped off. So that's one thing of like, not quite there.
As well as just like a general change in the economy, a lot of new rewards all over the place. So there'll be some new quests, new adventure rewards, stuff like that. And yeah, we've got some stuff to spoil later in this interview that I'm excited about.
20 new champions is pretty insane. I guess
yes.
You guys have been stockpiling those for a while.
yeah, I'd be remiss. Like, the team has been working very hard on this, but I'd also be remiss to not give a shout out to Riot Dirtle, who's the other design lead, who put in so much effort on.
So yeah, what was going through my mind here is when he said 20 new champions, I thought 20 brand new champions as well. And so I was like, oh, that's where all the champions have been for the last couple months, because I was like, we haven't had that many champion releases for older champions coming to the game. And so at the moment I was thinking like, oh, they've just been holding them all for this moment. At this time I also thought it was brand new champions. And so yeah, it's still crazy that we're getting so much content, but not exactly what I was thinking at this moment.
polishing up all 20 of those champions. They are all very fun to play. So really excited to see what y'all do with them.
Yeah, that is going to be insane. I'm going to have way too much content to try to put out.
Good.
Follow up kind of on the constellations. Will their upgrade system be linear? So we get 1 point, 1 power, and then the next? Or is it going to be a little bit more branching where we have some leeway in what we choose?
Also, I tried to turn the alerts off. The thing that turned off was the like pop-up on screen, but the sound was still there. I could hear it and he couldn't. And when that happened, I was just like, damn it. So I was like, this. So like he couldn't tell, but it kept going off the whole stream, and I was like, there's always something you forget. I tried to turn them off, but the sound still went through. It was terrible.
You will get some leeway in what
you couldn't hear it. Okay, so I guess most people, it's just my recording then. Everyone that watches it now.
you choose. Yeah. So the stars 1 through 3, those will be linear as you expect with other champions. But after you buy your 3rd star, the constellation will open up, and it's not going to be consistent across every constellation. They hopefully you'll see sometime soon, but they are literally drawn as constellations across a starry sky, and they are mapped out as such. So it is a web of upgrades.
Awesome. Moving on then, a little bit about the...
Also, that's something I was kind of surprised by. Like, I knew that it was drawn out as a constellation. I kind of expected Riot was just going to be like, no, you have to get this, and then this, and then this, in a linear order. But the fact they're actually letting us choose the path is actually pretty awesome. I didn't expect them to do that, but I'm very happy they are. That's pretty good. I thought that sound was meant like a Report TV kind of sound. Yeah, that's just when people were like following the stream or following my channel because they were watching the stream. And it's like the normal sound effect. And so that wasn't intentional at all.
Monthly challenges. So Aurelion Sol has been sitting there as the reward for the monthlies for quite a long time. Any update for the monthly challenge rewards, or when Aurelion Sol might get kind of moved off as the champion in there?
Yeah, so we don't have a date locked in for when we're going to remove Aurelion Sol. So
can I just get the 6-star right away? So potentially, it's just going to depend on how much it costs and how many fragments you have. Hopefully we can, but we'll have to see. Dude, I subbed at the end of the video and felt so bad because I didn't know it was on. Yeah. I was so conflicted because like, okay, great. People are following. This is awesome. And then it was just like, also it's making noises, which it wasn't supposed to do. Doing monthly is so boring. I have Acel at only 2-star. The rewards they're about to reveal, or I'm about to reveal, are pretty good and definitely make it worth doing.
I'm sure we discussed, like, we told players that we would do this previously at some point. I don't think I was involved in those conversations. I actually don't know how long ago that happened. But I personally like Aurelion Sol as a, like, it's a good long-term goal for new players. And today is actually button day. So we just put the lore button in the League client. So we expect a pretty reasonable influx of new players. And I think that it's reasonable for them to have a very, like, obvious and nice way to collect this very powerful champion.
So I really agree with what he was saying, that it should be a big end game goal for people to see. And so like my hope would be like when they're replacing Acel, they have to make it another big end game champion. And so for us Path of Champions players, making it be Lissandra, and Lissandra also being like 4 stars or something, I think would make it worth it. But leaving Aurelion Sol as the big overpowered goal for people to try to go through, I do think works out pretty well. So while I would like them to replace Aurelion Sol, at the same time, with the amount of other rewards they're adding to the monthlies, it's like, okay, it evens out a lot more because it's still going to feel very rewarding to do. It feels like they'll keep Acel for a long time for every new player to get. Probably, yeah.
But we are updating the monthly rewards. So if you'd like to show that off to players.
All right, so this is actually pretty insane. So we get rewarded for every single 5 wins, which is really nice. I know I'm gonna have to move. Well, there's literally nowhere I could really go with. All right, I'll just boom. Okay, I'm hiding. The bottom's somewhat cut off from, like, I can see it in my video, but yeah, anyways. The fact that we're getting rewards every 5 is really good, because especially, and I'm going to talk about it on stream or on the video, but when you first unlock the monthlies, you might struggle to actually get 10 wins, because you might not have that high of an account yet. And so that's really going to be a struggle. You can definitely get 5 wins, though. So giving you a reason to actually start the monthlies as soon as you unlock them, really good. The new monthlies should be starting next month. Or, well, not new monthlies, but the rewards should kick in next month. But I guess the mouse disappears when I click on something else. So the fact that we're getting more stuff is great. They're adding so many rewards to the game. So 3 Cosmic Blessings, though, at 10 wins, so you can level up your people faster. So good. The main complaint people have with this game is it takes too long to level up, or it's too much of a grind. This is going to help people so much, not having these stuck in the middle. Really good. But more wild fragments. People are upset that the only way to get wild fragments is through the dailies. Now, let's see, we have 10, 20, so 30. Okay, so just 30 wild fragments, which is pretty good. But also in here, 2 silver reliquaries, platinum vault, which that's a lot of champion shards, 3 silver reliquaries, and another platinum vault. Like, you're getting so many rewards now for doing the monthlies. And then there's some of these that we don't know what they are. Right here, the Gold Star Vessel, and then the Minor Gemstone. These are very likely for the constellations. So constellations, this will be stuff to upgrade them, most likely. But yeah, so many more rewards in here. It is pretty amazing. I wonder how normally we're going to gain star vessels. Hopefully not through monthlies, not only through monthlies. Probably not. Probably not. This is like the best update we've had in a while. Yes. Also, I think we talk about it in the video. It's a little hard for me because there's like some things I actually talked with him about before and after. So it's hard to remember what all was in the video and what wasn't. But one of the things he mentioned, so the patch comes out next week. The monthly update, though, will be the next set of monthlies. But all of the daily quests that we normally get are now actually giving us... Oh yeah, we talk about it in the vault. We talk about the vault, but changing the daily quest to actually give us rewards instead of just being useless, as far as like the other daily quests, not the Path of Champions one, that's also amazing. Like, we're getting so many more rewards now, which also, while it is probably going to be a grind to get champions up to the 6 stars, since we're getting so many more rewards, it really helps to offset that. Yeah, these gemstone vessels, I'm sure, are just to get some of the little nodes in the constellation, or to help with that. All of the new rewards, some things that initially just immediately jumped out to me is the fact that we're getting rewarded every 5 wins now instead of every 10. I think that's going to be really big, because I know I get questions all the time of like, can I open Golden Reliquary right after the patch if we would get new epics? Potentially, yes. I know some people, last patch, they immediately opened and got the Fear Cleaving Axe. So as long as it's in the pool, yes, you can. Some of them, like Nora's Relic, they specifically say it's not in the pool. So for those, no. But as long as they don't say that, then yes, you can. I do the monthlies, and so it's like, yes, as long as you can get at least 10 wins. So letting people get rewarded for even more wins is going to be awesome.
So for Ring of Fire, no, we don't know how many fragments are needed for the different levels of the constellation. That's one of the things that I wish I asked, but didn't think in the moment. But yes, that is not something we know yet, sadly.
Also, I'll say there's some new stuff in here that we've never seen before.
Yes, and it's not yet time to talk about those things, but we're jam packing this with a bunch of rewards. I also recognize that, like, not everyone loves monthlies, so as we move forward, we'll be looking for ways to reward you for no matter what you're engaging in. But for now, we're going to use monthlies as that vest.
These are the challenge wins. These are challenge wins specifically for the monthly challenges.
So,
also, I'll just shout out, at 10 wins, you get those Cosmic Blessings, which boost up your way to level up champions. So that's actually pretty nice, because those used to be down in the middle.
Very good point.
So that can really help people level up their champions a lot faster. So that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I did want to bribe people to just try monthlies. Look, all you need 5 wins. I'll give you 10 wild fragments. Just try it. Maybe you'll like it.
That is definitely going to be very helpful, because monthlies, they'll be really rewarding and really helping people level up their account. I recently just made a low level account, so I kind of could see the new player experience. And yeah, when you unlock monthlies, it's actually pretty hard to get any wins. And so you might only be able to get 5-10 wins when you first unlock them. But those rewards will actually really incentivize players to immediately jump in and try to just get as far as they can. So that's awesome. That is a great addition to the game.
I'm really happy that I was able to make that low level account, because I'm constantly having people talk about the new player experience. And so the fact that I can actually go back and experience it again myself, so I can actually relate more to newer players and have a better understanding of what it's actually like. Because before, I thought you unlocked monthlies late enough that you probably had more of a roster to get 20 to 30 wins. But if you were playing like I was, pretty much the minimum amount to get all your rewards, by the time you get to 15, you don't really have that much of an account, and you can't really get that far. And so I'm actually really happy I did have that low level experience, because it really was helpful right here. Game.
Happy to hear it.
Next up, so Runeterra had a expansion every 3 months where we got new champions, new card reveals, all that sort of thing. With the change in scope over to PvE and the kind of the downsizing of the team, Riot announced before that expansions aren't going to be happening the same way moving forward. This is completely random, but that's this kind of video. It's kind of crazy how many different colors I have in my beard. If you notice, there's it changes throughout. And the crazy thing is, sometimes I'll have a beard hair fall out, and in the hair you can see it goes from almost a white to a red to a brown to almost black. It's all of those are in a single hair. It is really interesting how many different colors there are. Totally random, but just watching the interview so
made
how
me
can
think
we
of it.
expect hard releases to look going forward?
Yeah. So we are still figuring this out. The team has been super heads down on constellations for the last few months. But we have been putting some thought into it. We do have plans to release at least one brand new champion later this year. So not from the roster backlog, a brand new champion.
Okay.
And while I can't say who now, we have commissioned art for a handful of other champions. So we are including some top fan favorites. So we have put some effort behind it.
When you say new,
That's what happens when you're a redheaded beard man. I'm not redheaded though. My hair is brown. So it's the rest is all brown. It's just in my beard there are red hairs, or part of the hairs are red, which is weird. Anyways, this is interesting because we're almost halfway through the year. And so he's saying we're getting one other new champion, which it's I would kind of hope we'd get more than one for the rest of the year. So I mean, hopefully that's all they're able to reveal at the moment. I was hoping that we'd get more Forbidden Rainbow. I heard it's rare genetic that your brown hair is a bit red beard. Huh. Interesting. Maybe I'm just a special snowflake.
Is it new to the universe or new
Fiddlesticks
to
would be
Runeterra?
great.
Like, is it something from League of Legends or brand new Runeterra champion? Or can you not say?
We are definitely adding champions from existing league. That's when I say top
Okay.
fan favorites. We're pulling from there as well.
Okay.
But we are leaving the door open for brand new lore exclusives. We'll see.
So I'm guessing when he said new, I think he probably means like new champion to the game overall, not just Path of Champions. So like bringing over a champion from League of Legends. I'm guessing that's what when he said one new champion. I'm guessing that's what he means. Hopefully for Path of Champions, we're going to get more of the existing roster to come in. Like that would be nice, but we'll have to see.
Okay. And then in somewhat line
I want
with the
Lysandra
last
too.
question, normally those expansions would have a event pass. Sadly, for the last one, we didn't have an event pass because Riot, you guys said that you were working on
Fiddlesticks would be
improving them.
hilarious.
Can you give us any details on how you're trying to improve those event passes going forward?
Yes. So it gets a little in the weeds, but like the improvement that we need to make is making them easy to reuse from a technical standpoint.
Also, it's funny if you notice, I think we have the same headset, the same like general design, which kind of cracks me up. Because when I bought mine, I saw that there was a red version of it. And so I see his, and I mentioned this to him before off stream, and apparently his was just like the one Riot gave him, so it has like the Riot fist on it. But I was like, pretty sure we're using like the same headset, which is totally random, but kind of cracked me up.
Point. It's like just the way that they were constructed. They ended up having a lot of one-off work. And this isn't actually like too hard to do, but a refrain you'll hear me say often is that the entire team has been very hands-on deck on constellations. But we are actively working on them again, like right now. And it's like I've seen players react to it, so it seems that everyone likes it.
Thank you, Mafalb. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate the support. I was about to say I've seen the Riot logo on their headphones. Yeah, so that is the one they're using. It's just funny that they probably took the same headset I'm using and then just like put the Riot branding on it, which kind of made me funny or made me laugh. Thought
we
was
like
funny
them as well. So we're happy to like get them back, and we're interested in running them fairly regularly. In the meantime, recognizing that we won't have events like for this next patch, we're doing a set of free quests with like similar rewards. So that'll give out some fragments,
Nice.
some Stardust, some of the new goodies to kind of
which is pretty big. So this next patch, we're getting all of the constellations, a huge change to the reward structure in the entire game, and they're also giving us some quests for some rewards. Because I know that was an issue a lot of people had with the last patch, but they're like, okay, we got emotes, we got card backs, where are the fragments, where are the champion shards? Because all we got essentially was Lux, which definitely was a bit disappointing. Like, I'm really glad we got the card backs. Those were amazing. But I was also hoping we get some more quests. It seems like we'll be getting that here, though, which we haven't seen what those quests are. But more quests to give us is always nice.
mimic the feeling of an event, and that's just free. So
one thing also kind of tied in there, how often do you think we'll be able to expect events going forward? Like before it was like every 3 months. Is it going to be a different sort of cadence or something similar?
yeah,
Yeah, the emotes are kind of
we
dumb.
are aiming for more frequent than that. I don't know
Awesome.
that we can like lock in anything yet, but yeah.
Also, this is really big. So I just asked how often we gain events, because before it was every 3 months. And so one thing, if you were here on like Tuesday, I think, whenever we were doing our stream prep video, it might have been Tuesday, that was one thing we were talking about, is how we want to see events happening earlier. and like more often. And so them saying like, yes, we're going to be doing more events more frequently, that is going to be really good. Because every 3 months, while that was great, it was definitely did feel a little bit too sparse, a little bit too much time between them. So yeah, you had your German exam. The fact that they're shooting for more events is pretty great. That's going to be awesome.
That will be great, because yeah, that was one thing I was just talking with Stream the other day, is like adding more events, more engagement, more reasons to sign in is definitely awesome addition to the game. So I definitely look forward to more frequent.
Also, look how clearly you can see all of these. This was very much an intentional choice. I was like, someone is going to say something. No one ever did. Also, the photo behind my head is one that my wife painted for me.
Events, because every 3 months was a little rough.
Yeah.
You guys recently released, or somewhat recently released, the Lissandra adventure. Is the team happy with the reception that adventure has gotten? And then what, if any, lessons did you guys actually learn with releasing that adventure?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we see some good in it, some less good. Generally, just believe it's better to have it out there than to not. So I'm glad we turned it on early rather than waiting for Constellations.
Yeah, my wife is a actual, like, she went to school for art, and it actually took her a couple of years to be able to paint anything for me. So that she finally did that. I don't know if you're asking if I was German. I know Jump is. And most of my audience, actually not most, a lot of people on stream are often German. I have German ancestry, like on both sides of my family. My like great grandparents both emigrated from Germany. So yes, I do have some German heritage as well.
The good stuff that we saw is that some players really do like being challenged. So like seeing the community bounty board was just like a really cool moment. The fact that y'all beat her with every champion within a week, I'm pretty sure, was pretty awesome. But the less good is that, like, yeah, the difficulty spike on Lissandra herself was really intense. Hard countering a very specific archetype could be fine, but when we haven't released a new adventure in a long time, and it's like, here's the brand new shiny thing, and it just hard counters maybe the way you want to play, that's kind of frustrating. So for me, the ultimate lesson is like intense challenges like that should be opt-in, because there are those players who really love to do them. But for people who don't love to do it, you should have access to power that beats it. If you're just like, the level of skill required is not where you're having fun, then we should let you have a way to like overcome that challenge. Or there just shouldn't be rewards on the line. It should be something crazy like beating Lissandra with 0-star Vex, where it's like,
this is actually, I think, a really good response, because that's the thing, is some people absolutely love Lissandra. They love the challenge behind it. They love how difficult it is. And I think he makes a really good point of like, it's good that they have that in the game, but that should be optional. There shouldn't be necessarily rewards forced behind it. So it's like, you have to do this because you want to get the rewards. And so that makes it very frustrating for a lot of people that are like, well, I'm forced to play this. I really don't want to play it, but here we go. I think that's definitely a good approach for them to have, and realize like, yes, this is good for some players, but they understand why a lot of players didn't have the best reaction to it.
Like, yeah, you can do it, you know. That's awesome. I'll shout you out in a tweet. But yeah,
it's definitely the reception I saw from a lot of people, and they asked me like what I thought of the Lissandra adventure and if there was like a failure or not. And I was like, it depends on what Riot was going for. If they were going for something that was like tough as nails and something really hard, then 100% nailed it. Some people are going to love that. If they're looking for something.
Also, I just realized I accidentally did a pun. Like, I used the phrase tough as nails, and then well, not really a pun, but then I also said nailed it later. That was unintentional. That's interesting.
to kind of replace Aurelion Sol as like a fun adventure that you can go through. That's still a bit of a challenge. That's definitely not the case.
No.
But yeah, I figured that you guys were trying to do something tough as nails.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've loved the fact that we've been getting all of the new champions that released with the expansions in the game day one, because I knew that didn't used to be the case. I still feel bad about the fact that Aatrox was the only one from that one expansion.
If for you that don't know, Aatrox, he released with Kayle and Ryze. When that happened, I was so excited because before then, we've always gotten at least 2 of the new champions. And I was like, okay, we're probably not going to get all of them, but we'll at least get 2. And like Kayle and Ryze both seemed way more interesting than Aatrox. And so I was like, man, this is going to be great. I can't wait to play the new champions. And then it dropped and we only got Aatrox. And it was just like, what happened? What is going on? And yeah, I thought Kayle or Ryze would be super fun. I wasn't expecting to get Ryze, but the fact we didn't get Kayle, it was really rough. And so that was not a fun time to play Path of Champions. That sucked. But that's what I was referencing here. And yeah, it was not a good time. So it's been really nice that we have gotten the new champions day one Path of Champions.
That felt pretty bad. So that's great that we've been getting all new champions. But now that the champion releases are going to be slowing down.
Yeah, Kayle support's great.
Is the team planning on shifting their focus over to the existing roster of Runeterra champions and adding those into Path of Champions?
Yes. So we have some champ popularity data that we've been perusing. I've also seen like the surveys that the subreddit has held
Kayle
about
with
who they
Porofluff
want to see
and
next,
kind of
which is
Titanify.
awesome. I
Amazing.
will actually turn it back on you. Who would you want to see the most?
Also, this cracked me up. I thought this was hilarious. So when the stream, or when we first called each other, we got like a couple minutes early, or like half an hour early, so we could set everything up, set up our webcams, microphones, make sure everything was working. And then he also had stuff to send me so I could bring it up on stream when we talked about it. So like the monthly challenge rewards as well as Viego. So the funny thing is, he is clearly prompting me right here to be like, hey, you should say like Viego because that's who we're going to reveal. And so he's like, who's your favorite champion? Who's one you wanted? And like, I definitely have wanted Viego and thought he'd be really cool. But if you guys have watched my stream for a while, people ask me this question fairly often. And I always say Sion. And so it's like, I knew he was kind of setting me up to say Viego, but it's like, that's not who I've always said would be my favorite. I'm going to stick with that. I've always said that Sion would actually, as you can see, like, I'm really smiling and kind of laughing at the situation because I know what I'm going to say. And it's not what we were spamming in chat. You would say Sion. Yeah. So that is like everyone that follows me, not everyone, but most people would have known my pick. And so I knew what he was expecting me to say. And I was just like, I'm not going to say it. Or like, I'll bring it back around because I do like Viego, but that's not what's happening.
Be my favorite person to get added in because I think his entire kit and the, like, for me, theme of the cards has always been really important over even.
Also, yeah, he also smiled for a second, and if he probably knows, because if you can look at chat and if you were all saying Sion, then he probably realizes what's going on. We finally arrived at peak of Twitch meta, Toast reaction to Toast. We're now the big league boys. Oh yeah.
Gameplay. So for me, a Sion deck themed around all of his giant units would be amazing. I always also really like the villain kind of focused decks. So some other ones like Viego has always been a top one that I think would be really fun and interesting to add into the game.
Yeah. That's great. You've teed me up perfectly. So Viego will be coming in Constellations next week.
Yeah, this part cracked me up.
And we can actually go through his constellation right now if you'd like to bring that up.
All right. So here we have the Viego constellation. Let's go ahead and, oh my word. So yep, there's yeah, something like Viego. What a coincidence. Yeah, the sound was not a bug from your client. That was people subscribing or following in the background. And I just had to go with it. And I was just like, just play it cool. Maybe no one else can hear it but me. But yeah, I figured all the people on Twitch could hear it. There's the 6 stars. That is going to be a little weird to get used to. Yeah, when I first saw this, it looked so wrong. I'm so used to seeing 3 or at most 4. But seeing all 6 was just like, what is going on? Not used to that, but let's go through and take a look at this. All right, so I see that those branching paths there. So his first one, each round the first time you slay an ally, summon a encroaching mists. Pretty simple and straightforward. It looks edited, like really edited. It is gonna be interesting. I really wish we could have seen his starting deck, because honestly, a champion starting deck kind of really makes or breaks how well their star powers work. Like, just look at Vex. Like, Vex is one that the starting deck is great, just not for the star powers. And so we'll see how many ways he has to kill his own units, but more ways to summon encroaching mist, not bad. The constellations with champion image are very cool. Yes, they did a really good job of, like, Viego looks awesome with his sword. That's just each round the first time you slay an ally, summon encroaching mist. Awesome.
Yeah, this is 1 star.
Yep. 2 star. So yeah, 2 star, the +1 starting mana, and then when an ally with 4 or more power dies, reduce the cost of all 4 or higher power allies in hand. This is one that, yeah, he had to point out the fact that your encroaching mists will hit that 4 power threshold very quickly, especially when you get the 3 star and even the 6 star. So this is going to give you some massive cost reduction for your Viego, and then for you have like a 6 or an 8, maybe it's a 7 cost, that every round start you summon a encroaching mist. So getting some cost reduction down for your bigger units is really good, and this kind of gives me Volibear vibes, where you're having this other system to ramp up faster, which is pretty awesome. So having some of that built in is really good. I know the 6 star gives you a bunch more stats. There's one of the others that gives your encroaching mist challenger, which will be pretty big. Also, these are just upgrades in here. Maybe we would get something in the champion level ups that also gives items to your encroaching mists. Like, we're not sure. Yeah, reduce the cost of all 4 or higher power allies. So this is just in hand, so it's not going to help you for other things you have. It's not like your entire deck is getting cost reduced. But if you have a Viego in your starting hand, which you hopefully will after level 20, this will help you get him on the board faster. Or when ally with... Also, I'll talk about it later, but there's just another combination for this I just realized was really good that I didn't even think about in the moment. 4 or more power dies, reduce the cost of all 4 or higher power cost allies in hand by 1. Interesting. So it's only in hand, but that's a way you can try to cheat out your Viego, as well as some other your bigger units. That can be fun to play around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
yeah,
3 star. Go ahead.
Oh,
yeah, he was probably waiting to see if I was going to immediately think of the combination of the fact the encroaching mist will be able to get to that 4 power and then start counting. But in the moment, I just did not do that. The sad part, dude, is that my Viego will be maxed out so fast, I won't be able to play him much after. I mean, you can still play him once they're maxed. You don't have to stop playing.
The encroaching mists start naturally turning that on.
Good call. They're going to be over 4 power pretty soon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And each round, the first time you slay an ally. Yeah, also, this was a dyslexia moment. I could not read this. It's rough. But the crazy thing here, like, Viego's going to scale so hard.
because now you can summon 2 encroaching mists in a single round, just from your star powers. And then also remember, if you have Viego on the board, the first time you have an ally die, you summon an encroaching mist. So if Viego's on the board, you're getting like 3 encroaching mists right there. So that's going to be pretty ridiculous. You can summon 3 mists with Might and Viego. Yeah, also imagine if you get Trifairy and Might on Viego, all of your encroaching mists start just like immediately killing anyone. It's going to be fun. Viego's going to be a blast. Goodness. Each round, the first time you slay an ally and the first time you slay an enemy, summon encroaching mists. So more generation, also helping you scale up your mists even faster, because that can be pretty crazy, something for you to try to play around.
Yeah. And so now that you've passed the 3-star, this is when we start branching out.
So for some of these side upgrades, yes, these might be, why do you have dyslexia? Because I was born that way. It's just something you have or you don't. Also, I'm pretty sure dyslexia has a Y there. Which is, yeah, I've seen that word too many times. So I think these side paths, this might be where you use some of those items we're seeing in the monthly challenges. Those rewards, those like star vessels or whatever. So you might just be using your fragments on the actual star powers, and then some of these little nodes, because obviously there's way more nodes here than just 6. So even though like you're having your 6 star powers, there's a bunch of these little nodes. Yes, dyslexia with a Y. I think these are where the star vessels will come in for these different ones, potentially. But we'll have to see. Gonna have to manage board space with Viego. Yes, that is very true, because you're summoning so many mists. That's a good call. That is something you're really gonna have to be smart about. So 8 regen. What does that mean?
Yeah, so
there are so many parts. Like, I'm blown away by what they've done with the constellations. This is so much more impactful than I would have ever guessed. Like, thank you, Vivi Denny. Let's go with that. Or Dendi. Vivi Dendi. There we go. Thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate the support. Anyways, for the star powers or the constellations, there's so many things that have so much more impact than what I was expecting. Like, not only is it affecting your champion, not only is it affecting your kit, it's affecting other champions you have on your roster. It's affecting what champions you're trying to draft when you're picking items. It's affecting your support champions and what cost they are. Like, this affects so much more of the game than I was expecting at all. So I've always been someone that was really worried about constellations and wasn't too excited, to be honest, because I didn't know enough. And if this game has taught me anything, it's to manage expectations. I try to keep my expectations low because I've been burnt too many times in the past. So when I heard constellations, I was like, we need to not get too excited and just wait and see. But this is way better than what I was expecting. Like, this hits so much more of the game and is awesome.
Regen is a new adventure stat that we've added.
Also,
so
this is huge.
Similar to Nexus Health and Rerolls and Gold, Regen is now a new stat in that tier. Regen is when you win a combat encounter, heal your Nexus by that amount.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is like, you've seen this on like a relic or two, and I think there's a power out there that does it. But we wanted to incorporate that more into the game to give kind of champions this different texture of like, maybe Elder Dragon has.
Also, that was something I was really struggling with. It's like, how long is he going to talk? Because should I keep it on the Viego power, or should I switch it back to us? Because I don't want to be switching back and forth a lot. And so it's like, if he is just saying like one quick thing, then I need to keep the other one on. But if he's going to talk for a while, then I need to bring it back. So this is something I was kind of figuring out in the moment, being like, how long do I keep it on what frame?
100 Nexus health, but 0 regen. So it's just like you get what you get. Versus a ninja or like a more martial fighter like Shen or Lee Sin or something. Lee Sin especially might have very low Nexus.
Also, I feel like him saying that there is like pretty much confirming that Lee Sin is gonna get constellations. Like, that hasn't been technically confirmed anywhere. Yeah, Shen upcoming. Well, he said Shen, and then he corrected to Lee Sin, and so I'm like, Lee Sin, I feel like he's just kind of inadvertently confirmed that that's going to happen, which is kind of funny. I mean, Lee Sin definitely needs the help.
Nexus health, but really high regen. So each fight you can like take several licks and then just like heal up at the end. So you just like work with what you got. Like, as long as you get through the encounter, you're gravy. So we're hoping that changes the texture of some of these champions.
That's definitely very interesting. I like making champions feel very different, because that is a problem some champions have of feeling very similar to other champions. And also, yeah, adding this regen mechanic will be amazing, because people always ask me what's the best common relic to throw on, especially when you're leveling the champion. And often I say Starchild Staff, because that extra regen is very helpful. Like just 5 every time, it can really help you get through adventures because you're not getting whittled down. So that is very good. But
so pretty much every one of my guide videos, when I put it out for common relics, I pretty much always recommend Starchild Staff and Chameleon's Necklace. Those are like the 2 that I always recommend. But this is also really interesting, because one thing he said is they're changing the champions to make them feel more different. So some champions will have really high Nexus health but maybe low regen, and then other champions might have smaller Nexus health but have a lot of regen. And so it's just going to change how you're playing different champions. It's like, okay, can I take more hits early? Can I heal that back up? Am I have to be more careful with my health, or have a lot of health to spare? It's going to be very interesting and just further change how we are playing each champion. And changing, like any change between champions is great, because one of the biggest issues is champions coming out having like a very similar starting deck and then playing very similar. Yeah, Kali's like the most ninja champion there is. I mean, aesthetically, Shen is very ninja. So is, yeah, Zed.
Let's go back and keep going through this. So 8 regen, that's a lot. All right.
So support champs have Studded Leather Phage or Titan's Axe. This is pretty great because it's actually further incentivizing who you're going to pick for your champion. Because often it's just kind of whoever. Often you want to go cheap, but going for bigger units is going to be great. See you, Katafan. Thanks for hanging out. Also remember, you're going to get cost reduction from your second star power. All your units that cost or have 4 or higher power are going to get that cost reduction when you are like slaying a unit, or when one of your ghosts die. So having a bigger unit with a Titan's Axe is going to be pretty big. Like this is going to be quite helpful. All right, Star of Legends. So support champs have Studded Leather, Phage, or Titan's Axe based on... Also, remember that these units are already going to have items on them from your other champion level ups. So they're already going to have like an epic or rare item. And now you're also just giving them another item on top of that. So your support champs are going to be awesome. Question, what are you going to grind to get the start of a constellation? I don't think there's enough material on LOR to grind and not make it repetitive. I mean, the start of the constellation is just your normal star powers. Like that's just your 1, 2, and 3 star powers. So you're going to get those the exact same way as always. I mean, and as far as the game not being repetitive, it's going to be pretty repetitive. Like, normally you're grinding some of the same adventures over and over again. It will be repetitive as far as the content we're going through, because that's unfortunately kind of just the nature of the game. We don't really have enough adventures at the moment.
On their cost. Interesting. Yeah, we've never seen something like that before that is kind of reliant on the champion. So you get more rewarded for picking higher champions.
Yeah. Yeah. So as well as like this is just showing constellations are going to have upgrades for like the meta game around your champion. It's not going to be as specific as like your exact match will be modified by the upgrade that you got. In this case, this is like now whenever you see support champions, they're going to be stronger. And hopefully I see it as a base cost or current cost. It would be on the support champion's base cost. So the more expensive they are, the better stat item they'll get.
And do you have the breakpoint for all of these?
I don't off the top of my head. It would have been good for me to pull that up.
All right, let's keep going then.
Also, I was really proud of myself here. Like, he's about to hover over, but I pause it, and I was like, Shape of Fear. I'm pretty sure that's the one that you kill your own unit. And so this cracked me up, the fact that I was able to remember it. I was so proud of myself because it's one that you don't see this card a lot in Path of Champions. So the fact I was able to remember actually maybe made me happy.
Shape of Fear has Stopwatch. Is Shape of Fear kill your own unit to summon a Mist Wraith?
Good news. If you play the video for like one more second, I do hover over those things.
Okay.
Because hey, I figured right. Yep.
So one cost burst because of the stopwatch. That'll be really good. Awesome.
Yeah. So we don't, as far as I know, have any way to generate this because we're not seeing it anywhere in the star powers. But this must just be in the starting deck. So hopefully something we can draw pretty consistently. But this will be good because you're not only killing an ally to summon an Encroaching Mist, but then because your star powers, you're then summoning another Encroaching Mist. And then, yeah, if you have your Viego, you summon another Encroaching Mist. So pretty ridiculous the amount of Encroaching Mists we're able to get, which is awesome. Yeah, Viego's going to be a blast.
Yeah. We are getting we are looking to use Stopwatch in more cases where there's just like it can also just make the game feel better.
It's going to be amazing.
This is certainly one of those.
Please add Stopwatch to coin. It is so painful not having that anymore.
Which is pretty funny because he said that he's also the designer for like Set and Jack, and those are like his favorites. So he probably, definitely really agrees with that. But one thing that he like mentioned is they are trying to add Stopwatch to more things, so more stuff is getting burst. But they also said how they're going to be adding more of the damage to spells. I forget what it's called right now. But it's the modifier that increases the damage of your spells, and apparently they're going to be adding that a lot more to a lot of champions, where it's just like, so here all Shadow Isles followers have pickaxe. The fact that like all spells you get are going to have the extra damage.
Oh, that one's tough for me. I'll consider it.
Shadow Isles followers you acquire in adventures have pickaxe. I really like this because it's actually giving you more upgrades to focus on a playstyle and your drafting throughout the adventure. So actually having more of a reason to pick higher level champions or higher cost champions because you get that better stats.
This is so good.
Picking up Shadow Isles followers.
Also, there's so many interconnected combinations that it took me a minute to really piece together, and I'm still getting hit with more. Shadow Isles champions you acquire in adventures have pickaxe. Pickaxe gives you +2 power. The second star power is like when you have an ally with 4 or higher powered die, it reduces the cost of your other units. So essentially, all the Shadow Isles cards you get are going to be able to hit that threshold as long as they have 2 power baseline, because they're going to get 2 more from the pickaxe. And so they're not only going to level up your Viego way faster because he requires units with power. Like, he scales off of power. So that is going to be massive. You have all your encroaching mists that are getting summoned, and then all your Shadow Warriors followers having these pickaxe, giving you further cost reduction for your bigger units, helping you level up your Viego even faster. Like, just now realizing it is just like, damn, this is even more impactful than I was thinking. Capio Jack just wanted to thank you for your work. I've subscribed to YouTube a long time, and your guides are extremely helpful. Also, the interview got me hyped. Awesome. Thank you for the support. I was very happy to be able to get this interview. Also, if you get Encroaching Mist in the adventure, you get 2 power on those. True. Although you normally don't get Encroaching Mists that often. You normally get cards to summon Encroaching Mists, but yeah, that'd be nice. 1 more mana gem for Elder Dragon is amazing. Dropping the heal 3 to get a mana gem at round start. That's actually the crazy thing is, we're going to get to it, but everyone is going to be able to get +3 starting mana. But just imagine, again, you have Starforged Gauntlets. So everyone that can use Starforged can now get +4 starting mana, which is just insane. People are going to be ridiculously strong. So you can actually get that extra stats as well. You've seen them in shops? Okay, nice. A great addition, in my opinion. That is wonderful.
Yeah, we're really excited about this as well, because like it can struggle for the shop to matter as your like champ gets pretty upgraded, and you're like, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I don't actually need to add any cards to this thing. And so finding ways where we can make the shop feel worthwhile again is like a pretty exciting space for us. And so in this case, it's Shadow Isles followers, but some cards just say any damaging spell you acquire will have charging.
Like, yeah, this is really big.
That's definitely amazing, because there's so many champions that you don't care about. You actively avoid shops, or if you go to a shop, you just try to get a power. Don't look at anything because you don't want to fill up your hand. So having more of a reason to go through and try to draft cards is awesome. But let's keep on going here. Yeah, that's so big, because normally when you're playing, you actively try to avoid shops. And like, that's the smartest decision to do, is to not get cards for a lot of champions. And so the fact they're actually trying to make you choose what you should play, or give you reasons to pick things up from the shop, and further rewarding that, is amazing. Like, you have 4 at the start and 4 from buying from the shop, maybe 2 from the power. Yeah, you are right that you could start off with 4 mana and then hit up the Scribe of Sorrows and then just buy a whole bunch more. As Acel, you want to go to shops because champs in shops reduce the cost a lot by Acel. Yeah, like, there are some champions where, like Volibear. Volibear is another one. Elder Dragon, where you want to go to a shop to get more big units. So there are some champions where going to a shop is important. But there's a lot of other champions where you don't want to go to the shop at all. So it's nice that they're trying to fix that.
Yeah.
Game start, get a mana gem. So we'll start with 3 mana then. Yep. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So that is this one is shared across all champions. They will all have the ability to get a 4th mana gem. Third mana gem. Counting. I think there's like 1 or 2 champs that like very slightly modify that, but they all end up with another mana gem.
So there's a couple champs that very slightly modify that. I wonder if by very slightly he means they get 2 mana. Because like, he also said 4 mana to start. So there might be some champions like maybe Elder Dragon or Aurelion Sol that maybe get just 2 extra mana gems here. Or it could be something that people are able to complete a certain action to get extra mana. So, I don't know. Like, for Elder Dragon is a random example, that's not something they would actually do, but like, the first time you drop a 6 or higher base cost unit, you get an extra mana gem, maybe. So maybe there's ways that you can get more mana gems, or it could just be some people get 2 mana gems here, because he said that this isn't the same for everyone.
refer to this as the 5th star power, just internally, even though you can get them out of order, but that's just how we kind of keep track of it.
Okay.
Which also means if this is the 5th one, I'm guessing while you can go up and get like the 4th star power, the 4th might be like 80 fragments as a random example, and maybe the 5th one here is like 100, 120. So while you can't get them out of order, since he's calling this the 5th, I'm guessing that the price is probably set, and it's not like, oh, this one is 80, or like whichever one you get first is 80 and the next one's like 120. It's probably like this one is set at being pretty expensive because it's the 5th one and it's giving you extra mana, which is huge. Support cards, those were completely random. Oh, who's to say those cost fragments? True, but I'm guessing that since they're calling them star powers, that they cost fragments, and maybe the other stuff costs other things, but also that is completely speculation. Maybe these don't cost fragments at all. We don't know. Sadly.
Let's have a additional item, so that's just like a random roll then?
Yeah. As we get near the kind of fringes of the constellation, the upgrades here kind of are meant to be more like gilding on like, my champion is plenty strong already. I just want to fill the whole thing out.
Okay.
What are some rewards that just make it just the cherry on top of on stuff like this? So like, yeah,
the star blessings could be a raw resource, like a fragment that you just spend, but you could be right that it might be like a epic quest, such as we have for like the forge, for upgrading to a rare or an epic item. They might do it like that, but it could just be another material like star fragments.
Your support champs will be very lit once you have this and the previous like support champ item.
No, it's just all support cards, so the champion and then the 2 cards they come with each will have just a random item on them.
Yep.
All right, awesome.
So yeah, this one's very basic, but just making you stronger.
5% chance to get epic items and powers, 1% to get legendaries. So just kind of what you just said, adding some extra gilding to it, making just flat better, and just not really kind of changing how you play, but just making you more likely to be stronger.
1% isn't that big of a deal. That being said, you have other bonuses as well. So like from your legend level, you have like a certain percent chance to get legendary power. So just 1 extra percent, like you probably in total only have like 5% chance. So on the one hand, 1 extra percent when you only have like 4 other percent is like a pretty big increase, but at the same time, it's also just 1%. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's just making it a little bit better for you. But that's kind of what he said these are for, is more to just make your champion a little bit better. Like obviously, or well, in my opinion, if you can choose the order to get these, this is going to be like the last thing I get, because yeah, it's not going to matter that much, or it's going to have less impact than most of these other ones. I had a run where I was offered 2 legendary powers in the same offering, so plus 1% shouldn't be that big. Yeah, like it's nice to have, but this, yeah, it's going to be bottom of the priority list to me to get this one.
I see one question about, wait, you can unlock all of them at once? I thought you'd have to choose. Yes, you can unlock every star in a constellation. You do not make a choice at any time, other than like if I have like this amount of currency and I have to
make a tier list for these constellations. Yeah, I'm gonna have to they're just making everything more complicated, and so every tier list, it's gonna be so difficult, because it's like, and the tier list we have going forward, it's like, okay, we have now constellation champions, but then we have half the champions that don't have constellations, and so it's like we're probably gonna have to make like 2 different tier lists of like, here's tier list for constellations, here's one that's not. I think it depends on a lot of what you need. If you still have a champ to max, you probably want the XP one. I mean, even for me, who has everything maxed out, I'm still going to pick the XP one just for the future, because like this is going to be great, especially with all the different constellations, because it's just reducing the amount of time we have to spend leveling future champions, which is amazing. Well, so no, Jack, that's not 20 brand new champions. I know it wasn't clear in the video. When he said 20 champions, he meant Viego as a brand new one, and then the other ones are existing champions that are getting updated to their constellations. So it's still going to be a massive change, but it's not 20 brand new champions. Yeah, it's still like really big and good. I just want to make sure you're not expecting 20 brand new champions, because that could be pretty disappointing on patch day if that's what you're looking forward to, and then find out that's not the case.
To pick one star or the other for now. You still will be able to go buy the other star later.
Okay.
Just to clarify that.
100% XP for Shadow Isles champions.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So, as you are leveling up any...
This, with how they've done the constellations, I was like, do we now have XP like in game? Like, are people going to level up? Like, is there a new level up mechanic that like they're leveling through adventures? Like, what is going on? Because yeah, I didn't think this was just going to be... I didn't think that their constellations would be able to hit other champions. Like the fact, like other parts of the game. I thought every constellation was just going to be confined to buffing this specific champion. So the fact that you can get a buff for one champion that then affects every single Shadow Isles character you have on your roster, that to me was just like mind-blowing. It's crazy.
Future Shadow Isles champions, Viego or any future Shadow Isles champions, they will level twice as fast. They will get an additional plus 100%.
So some of the constellation buffs are universal. Like this one is. Most of the other ones, I think, are just affecting Viego. Like Shadow Isles champions have pickaxe, or like Shadow Isles followers you see have pickaxe. Like that should only be affecting you when you're playing Viego. But this is one that is affecting all Shadow Isles champions, which is kind of crazy.
Cent XP.
Interesting. That is definitely something I never would have seen coming, but that is a very nice addition to your account and just more reason to level up these characters because it's going to help any future characters you get. That is...
Yeah, I never would have expected that they were going to do this, and it's amazing.
Yeah, a really nice bonus that, while it's not necessarily affecting your main champion, because by the time you get this, I assume they're... Well, who knows? Maybe people like
they're
me
pretty...
When he read Mana Gem and said it's shared across all champions, I think what he was meaning is every champion has this exact same node. So like every champion, their 5th star power is +1 mana. Not the fact that once you unlock this, every champion on your account has +1 mana, because if that was the case, after you unlock a couple constellations, you would literally get like, yeah, over 10 mana turn 1. So like that kind of can't possibly be the case. So what he was meaning, pretty sure, is just that every champion has that exact same node of you get Mana Gem. So you can get that on turn 5. Get this right away,
yeah.
But probably already leveled. This will help all future champions. That actually is a pretty awesome addition.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to like... After you've advanced champions to this point, like we don't need to make you go through those early levels at such a slow pace anymore. Like you know what's up. So
yeah, I'll definitely say that's one of the biggest complaints I see. And like for me, I'm more fine with grinding. It's not that big of a deal for me, but I know for a lot of people, they don't like how grindy the game can be. And so this, in addition to the monthly challenges where you're getting those blessings very early now, will really help what most people would have say is like the weakest part.
I really like the fact that I'm able to call back to what happened earlier in the interview and just be like further reinforcing that. I was very happy with this.
The game with it taking so long to level champions. So mitigating that with some of these is a great addition.
Glad to hear it.
All right, let's keep moving on then. So 4+ regen for Shadow. This is like why I wanted to rewatch the video, because I knew there was going to be stuff that I forgot. The fact that not only you're getting 100% XP, just baseline for all of your Shadow Isles champions once you get this, also getting +4 regen for all your Shadow Isles champions, so further helping your entire account by getting this constellation is massive. Like, that's... Yeah, this one is going to stack with your other champions. So like Viego has 8 regen already, so that should stack with this. So he's going to have 12 regen, which is crazy. And then the fact that you're like, this is why this node over here, which was the 5% chance to get like rare or epic powers, and then like 1% chance to get legendaries. That's why this is the bottom of the priority list to me, because the other nodes being able to just affect all of your other Shadow Isles champions is massive. Regen is essentially how much you heal after you successfully clear an encounter, which being able to have that is very nice. So for Viego, with this, he's going to have like 12 regen. So if you win an encounter, your Nexus health will go up by 12, which is really good. Also, we don't know if we still have baseline regen for everyone. So one thing we got from our legend levels, actually not legend levels, it's from leveling up your champion. You have like a base like 3 regen right now. So after every battle, your Nexus heals by like 3 if you have your account or if you have your champion to a certain level. So we don't know if that's still going to be in the upgrades from your star powers. Or not star powers, sorry, your level ups from your champion. If you do have that, then isn't it 4? It might be 4. I thought it was 3, maybe it's 4. But you might also have that baseline. So like Viego has 12 from what we can see, but maybe he has another 4 from the star powers. Ugh, I keep saying star powers, your champion level ups. So he could sit at like 18 regen, which would be huge. Like, massive. Does double XP on Shadow Isles stack with Cosmic Pearl? I don't know. I would think so, but I don't know. I mean, that's something we just have to test out. After this patch, Unyielding Determination legendary power should be moved to a common. I mean, yeah, and the healers, like, they're pretty much already just used for cutting cards. Now they're definitely just used for that. But yeah, these two, the fact that you have multiple ways to buff up the rest of your Shadow Isles decks is amazing. Shadow Isles champions, so just similar to the last one, I'm guessing this is going to help all future Shadow Isles champions, including Viego, and you just get 4 extra health every time you successfully clear a challenge or a battle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. That is, again, just a really good,
Straightforward.
Really good upgrade.
Yeah.
Sorry for being pessimistic. I don't see the point of constellations if there's nothing else to do. That's just up to your personal preference. Like, yes, it's grinding for the sake of grinding. If you're having fun doing the grinding, though, if you're having fun upgrading the champions, if you're having fun playing with them, like, this is kind of a game where it's more about the journey than the destination. Like, often when someone gets a champion to max, they then stop playing the champion because it's the game is leveling up and getting the champion maxed out. So for some people, like for me, I think it's really fun. But you might just be someone that you want to be clearing new content, you want to be going through new challenges, and it's like, I definitely understand where I could see that not being enjoyable. So I definitely understand if for you don't like it, because it's not like this is, oh, it's the best thing for everyone, because yeah, there's still no more adventures. For me, I think this is going to be really fun. It's going to be great to play. I look forward to playing this through all the challenges or adventures we have. And yeah, more adventures would be great, but yeah, it is kind of more grinding for the sake of grinding. But for a lot of the player base, that's perfectly fine. But I definitely understand that that's not going to be for everyone. That's what the others thought too. Yeah, Lissandra is the hardest right now, and Constellations might make her way too easy. I mean, she's still going to have some BS that she pulls out that will shut you down, but definitely this is going to make it a lot easier. I do love the idea of Constellations, but the lack of adventures or survival mode. Yes, and hopefully those things come in the future. Like, I also want more things to play in the game. So hopefully that is coming. At the moment, though, I'm happy with what we're getting.
Okay.
This is also
Allies
huge.
have Overwhelm. Always solid to have. Very simple, straightforward, but really good.
Yeah, so this is what we call internally the 4th star power. Sad that Viego has them out of order, but that's fine. Again, we don't actually mind what order you unlock these things. So the 4th star power for every champion is a power that will be in the pool. It'll be in the random pool.
Okay.
By the way, is it always a common power? He didn't say that. He said it's always a power. So I'm guessing that they're all going to be rare or common. That would be my guess. He didn't specify that it's always common, though. But to be honest, like, yes, Crush is a common power, but it's one of the best powers you can get. Like, yeah, he just said it was power within the pool, which honestly, this is a really solid power to have, even though it's technically just like a common power. The biggest thing this is doing is making it so you don't have to run the Beast Within or Troll King's Crown. Because without this, you would probably need to run those relics. So it's actually just opening up what relics you can run on the champion, because you don't have to deal with Overwhelm anymore because you have it baseline. So the fact that that's happening is massive. I low-key wish we had some choice or agency, but it's fine, I guess. I mean, you have some choice and agency in the order you get things. I can't wait to see what they picked up for other champions. Yes, agreed.
But when you buy it on the champion, you will always start with it. And
I guess you mean with some choice. I guess you just wish you got to choose what common power you got.
we tried to pick ones that you're like, you're never mad to see that. Like Viego is always happy to have Overwhelm on all of his encroaching myths and just like getting through as much damage as possible. So that's kind of like the powers won't be like you'll see with the 6-star. Those are very powerful. They're powers in the pool. They're not going to be like crazy, but you're like, oh, I would have taken that, and now I don't have to because I already have it.
Imagine if Lux, the old Lux, got slow but steady. Like, if Lux got that, that would be one of the most impactful powers for her to possibly get. Like, oh yeah, it's a power in the pool. Yeah, it's not a big, like, that would be insane. Because it's just a rare power. And yeah, that's something you definitely always want to have. I mean, they're not going to give you an epic power, but yeah, they could actually give her slow but steady, and that would be amazing. Because right now, like, a valid strategy is just going rerolls and just trying to get slow but steady. If you get that, like, it's so good. So this is the fun thing that we'll see when we actually get champions. But right now we can kind of speculate on what is a common or rare power that works for every champion, because pretty much every champion has some powers you just really, really want to have. That just, it kind of fills out your kit. So I'm actually happy. Some people would probably say like, oh, it's lazy that they're just not designing a power, they're just giving you one from the pool. But for me, it's like, that's actually pretty solid, because there's a lot that we're already trying to get. Like, Overwhelm is a perfect example that even though it's a common power, we're constantly giving champions the Beast Within or Troll King's Crown, because that's how good Overwhelm is. So the fact that we don't have to do that anymore, at least for Viego, is going to be actually massive. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of champions that there's specific like common or rare powers that pretty much make them feel way better. And so having that in your kit, like, for example, Ornn,
His second star power, I don't really like. I think there's some issues with it.
It's also kind of funny shitting on champions to the devs. Because that's the thing, is like I'm always trying to be like honest. I like try to be nice, but at the same time, like try to be honest about what's going on. And so you have to be like, yeah, orange second star power is garbage.
And often you want to get the common power that gives you an equipment at the start of the game. And so that's just another one of those like common powers that you want to see on your champion. It's always good to pick it up, and that's normally better than rare or other powers. That is awesome, though. Let's keep going through here.
It's like Talia's overwhelmed from her third star power. Yeah. So yeah, Encroaching Mist having Skirmishing Saber. This is ridiculous because you're already making so many mists. With any ephemeral unit, you always want them to have that challenger to make sure they can actually trade and actually kill someone. So them having challenger is so strong. And also, just think of how many options you're going to have with Viego. Because if we didn't have these last two powers, guess what you would want to run? You'd want to run Blade Rack and you'd want to run Overwhelm. Those are two things you no longer need to have because you already have it baseline. So you can then play with more of the fun relics. That's kind of an issue we have with a lot of champions is there's a fun relic you can play, or there's the good relic you can play that just is giving you consistent throughput and damage like Overwhelm. Overwhelm is normally, even though it's boring, the better option because you just win faster. So the fact that now they're just like, you don't have to worry about doing that, go for the fun relic, make a fun build, and don't worry about some of these baseline mechanics because you're getting them just already in your kit. Like, both of these are very good, not only for what they're giving you, but for what they're making you not have to take. Because otherwise, so many of these relic choices, you just be like, well, like, for example, we have Gwen. For Gwen, I pretty much have used the exact same relic build on her the entire time just because it's incredibly consistent. And that's like Overwhelm, Crown Guard, and Ludens. That's just the build I pretty much always use because it's just the best, in my opinion. And so just removing like the Overwhelm so I wouldn't have to run that would suddenly open up a lot of different playstyles for me. But without that Overwhelm, like, you lose a lot of damage. So even though these, like, they look good baseline, but the more you think about them, you're like, this is actually helping us a ton.
So Encroaching Mist has Skirmishing Saber. Again, really good because that Skirmishing Saber, that gives everyone Challenger. Another just solid upgrade that you'll always want your ephemeral units to be able to kill enemy units. So that is really nice and
saving a
solid
loadout
there.
would be nice.
And then last star power, let's see.
So this is another combination. Like, I might have to go write the dev and be like, these are such good powers. I didn't even think about them during the interview. One thing I forgot during the interview, because a lot of these, like, any champion that's not in Path of Champions, I'm just not as familiar with because I never played them. Viego, he's one that his level up is, he levels up based on the power of his units dying. So not only is scaling up all your allies everywhere insane, not only is that great on its own, but it's going to make it so your Viego levels insanely quickly. And Viego has a really, really strong level up. So not only does this have the baseline effect of giving you tons of scaling, but you're also just getting, like, you're leveling up Viego so fast that this is so good.
So when you summon an Encroaching Mist, grant allies everywhere 1 power. That is pretty crazy because with the first couple star powers, whenever you kill your own ally, you get it. Whenever you kill an enemy, you also get an Encroaching Mist. So you'll be able to scale up all your units. And I guess the Encroaching Mists will essentially get twice the effect because they're already scaling. Viego's already scaling because of the Encroaching Mists. And then they're also getting the extra power from this. So they're all just, like, scaling out of control with all of these. Yeah, that is pretty nuts.
The 6 star power is the Windmill Slam Dunk. We definitely, like, when you play Lysandra, you kind of get like stat checked a lot. She just like, sometimes you just can't scale.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, I definitely feel that, because there's a lot of champions that, especially the champions that are focused on their units, you just throw down your unit and then Lysandra starts off with one that's twice as big, and it's just like, there's nothing I can do here because I just don't have enough stats. And so him saying that, I was like, man, I felt that.
And so, you know, we did the like items you acquire have charging sigil and stuff like that, or sorry, spells you acquire have charging sigil in some cases, and like we have ways of like slightly boosting your scaling ability, but the 6-star by and large is like, no, Lysandra, sit down. It's over. I'm dunking.
I also like that, especially with this 6-star, it's not only very powerful, but it's also tying into how you already want to be playing. Like for Aurelion Sol, his star powers are like kind of more of a meme of just like all your stats are doubled and all champions are like immediately leveled up. Like, while that's fun, it's not really like themed around his kit necessarily. Like, it's themed around the Aurelion Sol adventure and how we had to deal with that. But I like that for this one, it's very much themed around what you're already trying to do. It's already tying into your base kit and just further reinforcing how you want to be playing Viego. And yeah, that is pretty amazing. That is something I'm really happy about, is the fact that, yeah, with Aurelion Sol, it's like he's strong, but he's kind of boring. Like, it's fun to just drop these giant units and just steamroll the enemy, but he gets power in kind of boring ways because you're not really trying at all. You play a unit, boom, its stats are doubled. You play a champion, boom, it's immediately leveled up. Like, great, but at the same time, it doesn't really take any skill or thought, anything like that. With Viego, while it still won't be difficult, you actually have a gameplay mechanic that you're trying to do. You're trying to summon and play all these encroaching mists as soon as possible to enable all your power. So while it is ridiculously strong, it's done in a much better way than Aurelion Sol, in my opinion. I mean, Aurelion Sol still fits. He's like supposed to be the next level of Jinx, where it's ridiculously easy. You use him to just destroy everything. That's kind of his role he fulfills, and he does a great job of it. So it's like, I'm not saying he's bad designed, because he fits for the role he was made for, but I like the power we're getting with Viego much more. I think it's much more interesting.
Excellent. Yeah, we definitely were aiming for, like, this is another chance for us to show resonance with the champ and not just be like, yeah, here's more power for more power's sake. Like, let's make something that still feels very Viego. In some cases, the 6-star will kind of like shift what you care about, and make the.
Also, some of the stuff he does here, it's very interesting to me, because I'm just like, what is he alluding to? What is he talking about? I can't wait to find out, because yeah, it could be very interesting.
Champ feel a little different to play. We didn't do that too much. It would happen naturally sometimes and feel good. But like in several cases, like with Viego, it's just like, no, keep on doing what you're doing and you're going to do it twice as big.
That is, yeah, really good. And that was one thing was hoping with a lot of the constellations, is that it would just be working on further improving champions, bringing them kind of up in power, and not necessarily trying to fix champions that might be kind of underperforming or broken. So I really enjoy the fact, like, especially with Ornn that recently got buffed up, is that wasn't part of constellations or anything like that. He just got improved.
The problem with this is, like, it's a little ramble that I'm doing. I kind of realized partway through, it's like, I don't really have a question here. This is just me going off on like a little tangent. And I was like, I don't actually have a question for him in this at all.
So that hopefully when he gets constellations, he's going to be even better. They didn't just like fix that with the constellations. So that is great.
Yeah. We were very careful about, like, you know, we don't want it to be like just like a super weak base champ and then like the constellation shows up and that's where all of the power is hidden. So there are I think, one or two instances where while we were making a champs constellation, we actually went back and tweaked their one and three to, or like even their 2-star to just like fit the constellation better.
Which is really nice. I'm glad they're actually going back and changing some of the older champions. And like in here, he's going to say that they changed Misfortune. That's actually wrong. So they changed Darius's star powers. So Darius is actually another one that's been kind of confirmed to be getting a constellation, which I am very excited about because Darius is very fun, but he can have some issues. So him getting constellation is going to be great. Misfortune, he corrected on Twitter later that they changed her starting deck around a little bit, not her powers.
I want to say we did that for Misfortune.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what we get.
Because now I'm saying it live, but I'm fairly sure we did. Confident enough to say it on stream.
That's definitely good to know. I know Misfortune is, well, I like the champion. A lot of people really, it's one of people's most hated. They don't like him very much. Her and Gnar, sadly.
Yeah. Sorry, Captain Sarah.
Moving on then. So with the shift in focus to the PvE side of the game, Path of Champions, are we going to start getting some Path of Champions rewards in their weekly vault? Because currently it's only for collecting cards in the PvP side of the game.
Yeah. So I see this line of thought. We've talked about it internally. For now, we're just going to do new ways to get like the new stuff, the new resources and new content that we introduce rather than like co-opt any existing systems. It's not off the table. It's just that our focus is just like, we'd rather create something new. There are still people who just like the weekly vault as is. There's, I think 25% of our players are still PvP. So we can leave them that. Don't have to change it right away. I do recognize it's not intuitive given the new like path focus. So one thing that we are doing is that the daily quests that give you like weekly vault
I'm
experience,
so happy with this change.
Each of those will now also give you a bronze vault. So
because if you're someone that's just starting off, like while bronze vault doesn't have that many fragments in it, it's just more ways. Like for me on my low level account, I have very few people maxed out. So pretty much every single day, I'm going to get the 5 wild fragments, but then I'm also going to get or potentially can get the bronze vault and get like 5 more random fragments for any champion, which since I have very few maxed out, it's pretty much always going to be hitting someone to give me that full value. So while this is nice for veteran players to get just a little bit of Stardust every day, the fact that you can now get like just a lot more champion fragments, like this is going to be such a massive actually increase in the amount you're getting. It will really help the lower level players that are just starting actually be building out their account and catch back up, because it's not going to get converted to Stardust for them. They're just getting champion fragments. So the fact that they're essentially going to get 10 fragments a day will be very, very good.
You can get just, some extra champ frags for doing things that are like kind of fun, play a certain region a little bit or like plant a bunch of shrooms, things that are like still fun to do in Path.
That's honestly great to hear, because I cannot remember the last time I cared about those quests at all, because they just don't affect me. It's just like I get them done naturally, but I haven't gone out of my way to do that. Also, if you haven't noticed, I am a like visual learner, and so for me, when I'm thinking, my eyes drift around. It's something that happens this naturally. Like some people are very visual, some people are not, but yeah, that's why during the interview I'm not actually looking at anything. I'm literally looking at nothing, but that's because my mind is working in the background and I'm just thinking. But yeah, I'm just like looking all over the place, because that's naturally what happens when I'm thinking through things. It's just like gazing off into the distance. That in probably over a year, because they just don't impact me at all. So that's great to hear that we actually can, as Path of Champions players, care about the other daily quests other than just the Path of Champions specific ones. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
accidentally fast forwarded there. So yeah, you can see me trying, like right now, I'm glancing at the script because I have all my questions listed. And then like I'm trying to glance and like somewhat maintain eye contact with the other developer, but then also sometimes I'm just like looking around everywhere. Same, staring into the distance is the best way to visualize stuff. Yeah, and it's naturally what I do, so I can't really stop it. But it's like I have to try to maintain eye contact or like try to pay attention here, even though I'm trying to think, which naturally just makes me want to look off. For last like bigger discussion question, I want to talk about monetization. So I know that monetization can be a kind of tough topic. A lot of especially players have kind of a knee-jerk. Do you think they fix Vex with constellations? I think that they're going to do some changes to her baseline kit without constellations, but that they also will be adding constellations to her as well to fix her. So partially yes. We'll see what they do next patch. Hopefully they're not just using constellations to fix them. Actually, so I had a little bit of a conversation with him before when we were getting set up, and Vex was one thing that I asked about. I was like, I forget how I worded it. It was kind of what happened there, how you guys feeling about Vex, what's going on. And he said that Vex actually, like, they can see all the statistics about people that are playing and stuff like that. And apparently Vex's win rate has actually kind of, well, it started off really bad. Most new champions start off bad because people are figuring them out. Vex was able to come up a bit and be closer to all the other champions as far as win rate. So like based on their statistics, Vex is actually doing okay. I didn't press him too much on that, but apparently Vex is not doing as bad on their side. But yeah, it's still they still weren't necessarily as happy with how it came out either. Jerk reaction against any form of monetization in their games, which can be valid when there's so many games that are over monetized. However, Legends of Runeterra has pretty much never done that, and that's one of the reasons that I stuck with the game, because I've tried some of the other ones, but I also always stay away from other similar types of games because it's so heavily monetized. So Runeterra has always been great with that. However, that's kind of caused the issue we're in right now, where the team had to downsize and all these things because the game wasn't making enough money. So going forward, that's what I wanted. That's what I wished I asked as a follow-up, but it was like didn't really have time. It wasn't really the place at the moment, but that is what I wanted to ask Captain, is like win rate in what adventures? Against Aesol, against Lissandra. I didn't ask that. That was one thing that was like, I kind of wish I did. Oh, look, we hit 1,000 followers. Thank you for following Poro Vinny. Yeah, thank you for the follow. I appreciate the support. And hey, we just hit 1,000 followers. Awesome. That is big. But yeah, Captain, I didn't ask that. I wish I did, but I don't know. Forward, can you tell about any updates to the monetization of the game?
Yeah, so I appreciate you mentioning that it is like a sensitive topic. We definitely want to be transparent about it. We were pretty frank in the State of the Game FAQ earlier this year that like we just straight up stated like we will be more monetized going forward. But we don't want to swing the pendulum too far in the other direction, where like monetization is the end all be all. It's our only priority. We don't care if you have fun. We erode trust with players. Like that is a bad case for us. We still want to make a good game. We just also need to make sure that lore is sustainable to make. So Constellations is going to be the first step by extending the game's progression, but not being as easy to complete as before. Everything will still be obtainable for free just by playing. It just takes more work than it used to. but this first step is not a perfect.
which is pretty nice. So that was one thing people were concerned about with monetization, but he just kind of confirmed that everything is going to be earnable by playing the game. So pretty much happening in a good way where it's like you can play the game, unlock everything. If you want to speed that progression up, then you can spend some money to buy some different bundles that he's going to talk about. But if you're someone that can't afford it, you can just play the game and get everything for free. It's just going to take you a little bit longer, which, as long as it's not too painful, I think is the right way to do it. Like, it is still going to be a grind regardless, but as long as, yeah, it's not too bad, I think that's still pretty good. I still don't have all epic relics and all champions, and there's not grinding. Yeah, it's still going to be, I mean, I still don't have all epic relics either, and I've been going as fast as possible. So it's always going to be a grind, but that's kind of the game in general. I feel like her starting deck is the issue with only one card that synergizes with her second star power. Yeah, and that's definitely an issue, and the devs are obviously very aware of that. My problem is I've leveled all the champions to 3-star, but leveling them is a pain. That part is kind of the most painful, I will agree, because when I first started making content, I was like, okay, I need to level up everyone to... I need to max out everyone for the guides. I want to be as knowledgeable as possible. So I was throwing like 8 hours a day just grinding out champions, and it was painful. So I definitely understand. They are making it easier though. Like now they've added the blessings to give you that extra XP. So, and they're making that really easy to get by putting it at the very start, essentially, of the monthlies. So they're making that easier. And then with these constellations now, you're going to have ways to further speed up leveling of future characters. So they are trying to make that less painful, because I think that is like the biggest complaint with the game, like we've mentioned in this video already. I'm definitely going for the XP minor star. Yes, 100%.
Perfect step. So we'll be paying like close attention to player behavior data, feedback around this stuff. We definitely want to hear from you guys. This is just our first step at correcting what was clearly a problem. Like, we all know that it's been an issue for lore. I have my own feelings about monetization in games. So the way I kind of like make myself more okay with this is that, like, I love making lore, and I want to be able to make lore as long as I possibly can. So that means making it a sustainable game. It's the way that we have to do it.
So I agree. I'm not even gonna try for that name. Sorry. That is a problem a lot of people have, is when they get a champion maxed out, since this is such a rewards driven game, like, while it's a fun game based on the economy and everything of the game, we're playing to get rewarded. We're playing to level up a champion. We're working to get star powers. It's a reward driven game. So yeah, having a champion at level 30 does kind of naturally kill the desire to play them more, because in your brain you're thinking, I'm not being rewarded for playing this, I should play someone else. So I definitely get that. And there's not really too much, like, yeah, a Paragon system or something like that. I mean, they're kind of adding that in with the constellations of the more you have your account maxed out and the more you have them start up, it's going to help your other champions. But I definitely get that, and that is just a natural problem with this type of game. The great thing is, once you get the champions maxed out, you can just play whoever. But yeah, that is a problem. I hope they increase the level cap soon. I don't necessarily want them to increase the level cap. I mean, just having a different reason to play more leveled up champions. They kind of do that though. Like, the way they're somewhat fixing this is with difficult challenges like Lysandra, and then also monthly challenges. Monthly challenges, a big reason
was to let people use their maxed out accounts or maxed out characters, because they knew that that was a problem, as people would gain champions to 30 and then stopping playing them. Monthly challenges is the main way they want you to break out those OP characters you have and give you a reason to play those champions, because you don't really level up through the monthlies. You get almost no experience for it. It's not worth doing for that. But yeah, monthlies are there for that reason. Are we able to obtain all branches in time? Yes. Right, as I've gotten older and had more of a sustainable income and seen how games have been struggling, especially Runeterra, for me personally, if I'm playing a game actively, like for months at a time, then yeah, I try to find ways to support the game, to throw them some money, because especially if it's a free-to-play game, I know that is going to be required. And when a game is a good game and it doesn't feel like it's trying to get money out of you, then you feel even better about throwing them some money. So like some other games, like I recently played a lot of Helldivers or Deep Rock Galactic, which had very good monetization because they had almost no monetization. Deep Rock Galactic has like the best monetization stuff in the game, and like their battle passes is incredible. Like I don't play it that much, especially not anymore, but some of the stuff they had was like really, really good. But because of that, you wanted to try to find some ways to still support the game because it was giving you such a good experience. So you mentioned constellations were kind of the first step. Yeah, this was something that I noticed in his response. He responded without actually really saying anything or without giving like any details. I'm trying to think, I was like, he didn't really tell us anything. And so I had to do this follow-up question, be like, what do you actually mean? Because this didn't really tell us what to actually expect. Can you give any details on what we can actually buy to try to further that constellation progression?
Yeah, so there will be bundles alongside launch.
Did you say that like in chat yesterday?
Kind of at every tier. We have a little $5 bundle that I'm really happy with that is just like the welcome bundle, and that one will be on forever. Okay. Gives you like 60 frags of various champions. We have a little $20 really launch bundle that like gets you a head start, get you some of the currencies that you'll want to upgrade your content.
I don't know if he asked me, did he? I think I just interject, or like I don't think he asked me a question. Play game, right. I know that is going to be required, and when a game is a good game and it doesn't feel like it's trying to get
kind of like make myself more okay with this, is that like I love making lore and I want to be able to make lore as long as I possibly can. So that means making it a sustainable game. It's the way that we have to do it.
Right. He didn't ask me a question. He just finished his question, and then I went and talked for a bit. But while I was talking, I was like, he didn't really actually give us any details. But he gave us details then when I asked again. So he didn't try to deflect by asking a question. He just was a little bit vague. But I mean, he responded well to the follow-up question, so it's not like he was being evasive or anything.
That like get you a head start, get you some of the currencies that you'll want to upgrade your constellations. We have a bunch more after that,
which is interesting because I paused it a fire time. I was gonna.
So hopefully there should be something.
Whatever. Any pause frame looks terrible. So he said $5, and he said $20, and then he said a bunch after that. And so like I'm wondering how high these go. Because most people are just focusing on the 5 and 20, and I'm like, there's gonna be more. He said there's gonna be more, which I'm not saying is wrong or bad at all. But I just think it's funny that like as a developer, he has to be very careful because he knows people can freak out about prices. So I don't think I'm guessing there's gonna be like a $60 bundle. That's my guess, speculation. And there might be even some that are higher. Like 100% speculation on my part, but I'm guessing that's the case. But I think he doesn't want to say that like, oh yeah, there's going to be a $60 bundle or $100 bundle or whatever, because he probably doesn't want people to really freak out when they hear that. So there's going to be more than just the $5 and $20. He does say that there's a bunch more bundles after that. Free-to-play games are usually paid for by whales, so they need to make things for whales. Exactly. And so I think, like you said, a $5 bundle, that's like a starter bundle that gives you 60 fragments. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So there are a lot of people that want to support the game. Yeah, I saw the stuff about League reselling skins for like hundreds of dollars. Yeah. They need to be able to monetize it so people can buy stuff. Because right now for me, like, I pretty much buy everything they drop because part of it is it's my job. But I know there's other people that really support this game and they want to be able to buy things for it. So they definitely need to give us stuff to buy. Speaking as a dolphin, I'm more than happy to pay money to get items and support a game I like. Yes, and I think that is something I definitely recommend everyone to do. It's just, for everyone, it's a value or it's a judgment call of like, am I enjoying this game enough? If I am, then I think, especially if it's like a free-to-play game that's not necessarily charging you and you're playing for free, then it's good to try to support the game. Obviously, if you can, if like you're in enough of a financial situation to do that, then yeah, you should try to support the games you like. That being said, though, if you're like a casual player and you honestly couldn't care if the game died, then yeah, don't throw money at the game if you don't care enough about the game. But that's something I've really, like I mentioned in the interview, started doing as I've gotten older. It's like, while yes, I could just continue on as a free player, if I think the developers are doing a good job, if I think it's a game that's worth supporting, I will try to support them like every month or so and just do something. Telling my wife that Toast said I should spend $3,000 on the LOR. I mean, I don't even think you could spend that much. Like, I think even if you bought every single thing in the shop, it would be like definitely less than 300, potentially less than 200. So good luck trying to spend that much.
At every price point that people feel comfortable spending at, if they want to support the game and, you know, just generally explore constellations.
Awesome. So one potentially smaller question. I did a stream yesterday, so people, not saying this is happening here, but I see the possibility of developers announcing the decline of a game to entice customers to throw money at it to keep it alive. I mean, there's a lot of terrible companies, and they will do literally anything. Or like they'll be as manipulative as possible to get money out of people. So that definitely happens. Like there's some bad companies that will do whatever they can to get money out of you. Like I know there was an issue in like, I think it was MapleStory, which is like this more Asian focused MMO, where there was like a certain item that they literally reduced the drop chance of it to 0. So people would keep buying it and literally never get it, which was obviously illegal. So like there are bad companies that will do whatever they can to try to get money out of people. Now, I do not think that is at all happening here, and you said you're not thinking that either. But yes, that definitely can happen. Like, always be wary of companies and yeah, be careful. Why buy a skin if you can only pay Path of Champions and the characters aren't in it? Yes, that is true. Like, buying skins for champions that aren't in Path of Champions isn't really gonna have really any point for people generally. People could voice any questions they wanted me to ask, and like pretty much the number one question was asking about the golden reliquaries. It's a pretty long cooldown, about like 4 weeks or so. Is there any plans to reduce that at all? Also, funny thing, so in the stream before the interview, I talked about golden reliquaries and people asked me about the cooldown, and I put out that
while the cooldown feels bad for us as players, the reason why they're doing it is it's functioning for the developers so that they can make more epic relics. So we can't get all the epic relics too fast, and so it just gives them more time to add those relics in the game. And it was funny because when I was streaming that, certain people were like, oh, that's definitely not the case. I don't think anyone over at Riot thinks it's working as intended. That's definitely not what's going on. And then the developer was like, yeah, that's exactly why we do it. We want to make sure that we have time to make more epic relics, and people don't get them all too fast. You missed a lot of things because we've been streaming now for over 2 hours, and I'm doing a good job reacting because this is a 38-minute video and the stream is over 2 hours long. The video will be up on YouTube later, though.
Yeah, so this one's tough. Basically, we need to make sure that the Golden Reliquary pool of epics is like pretty much always filled up. And so if we reduce that timer too drastically, it puts a really high pressure on us to like make sure that there's something in there worth buying. Because right now, if you buy it when there's no epic relics, it gives you 3 Spirit Forges, which is just basically...
Which I'm glad he has the same opinion, because for me, when I heard about that, it's like I would have to make videos telling people, do not buy this if you have all the epic relics, because it is a waste of money. Like 3 Spirit Forges is 100 Stardust, or like it's 100 Stardust each, so it's 300 Stardust. So you're paying 10 times like the amount, because you're paying 3,000 for the Golden Reliquary to get 300 Stardust worth. And so it's like, this is terrible.
Robbery.
It's terrible.
Yeah, so we don't want players to end up in that situation. We are talking about having a better like fail case. We are also adding another way that you can spend your Stardust. So there will be a node in the Emporium that rotates daily that will let you spend Stardust to upgrade certain
this is
like
big.
constellations.
This is actually really
helpful. Gives you the
helpful.
currency to do so.
That's great, especially the fact it's going to be daily, because for a lot of the stuff in there, it's pretty rough when it's like, I want to get something else, but I have this cooldown for like weeks or just multiple days. So that is really great to hear. So that's a very good point by me, because yeah, often the cooldown for anything you buy in there is multiple days. So actually having something every day to get is really good. Now, we don't know what that is. He says it's like it helps, I think, for constellations, which great. But those of us that have that excess Stardust, we actually have something we can actually spend it on. Because if you're like me, where you have pretty much every relic in the game, so the relic rotation, like there's very few times there's something that's like, sure, I could use an extra one of these. Like that doesn't happen very often. And so it's like, all I'm really buying is the Golden Reliquary that's on like a 4-week cooldown and Spirit Forges on cooldown. And it's like, that's kind of it. And even the Spirit Forge is like a 2-day cooldown. So giving us more things to buy in the Emporium with Stardust, not with money, but with the currency we're getting for free, is really good. So that's great to hear. That's about it for the questions I had for you, but I want to open up the floor to you just in case there was anything that you wanted to further go into or anything you wanted to say to the community.
Yeah, I mean, I really do love making like lore. I'm always honest about that, and this community has really just like been the most friendly and welcoming like game community that I've ever like worked with. So I really want to give just a shout out to y'all. Super happy to see, excited to see what y'all do with Constellations, and just keep being great, honestly.
Well, thank you so much for the interview. It's been a pleasure and privilege to be able to do this. Hopefully we can do it more in the future. Thank you everyone that is watching. If you missed part of it, it'll be up on my YouTube channel later tonight.
Yes, I did adjust the volume part way through the interview.
I'll have a great time and enjoy the Constellations coming out next week.
That was something that it was off more in the beginning, and then when I was like partway through, I noticed that his volume was higher than it should have been. I was like, oh, damn it. And so I was tinkering with some stuff partway through the interview, trying to fix anything I didn't notice before. There's like some stuff like the alerts where like I turned off part of it, but the audio was going through, but I knew I couldn't adjust that without it being too obvious. But yeah, the audio I did balance slightly because yeah, it was worse in the beginning. But just takeaways from the interview. One, it was great. I was very happy I had the opportunity. It was great talking with Brian. And also, I'll say, just from interacting with him, because I interacted with him a little bit before and after stream, just to get everything set up. He seems like a developer that is genuine with his love of the game. So, obviously, this is the only developer I've really interacted with somewhat face-to-face. But I would say he definitely cares about the game and is very passionate about it. And they are doing the best that they can. And I think the Constellations update is amazing. It's fixing so many parts of the game. It's, for one, giving us a lot more to look forward to, a lot more ways to upgrade and play our characters. Not only are the Constellations, they're fixing so much. So it's giving players, or it's giving the champions more power, but then it's also improving some of the issues. Like, it's giving you reasons to go into shops, to buy cards. It's helping you with your upgrades, which is so good because so many people are like, there's so many champions where you don't care about getting shops at all. So they're really fixing that issue as well. They make you want to go into shop and look for certain cards, which is really good because that's one thing I love playing like Volibear or Elder Dragon, is going into a shop and being like, what's a fun card I can get? And so bringing that to more champions is amazing. The fact that they are adding upgrades that affect your entire account, so being able to increase the leveling speed for your other characters in a certain region, that is amazing. And then like the regen for all your other characters, like helping your whole account in that way, also really, really good. Adding way more rewards in the monthlies, so you're going to get tons more stuff. This will also really help the new player experience because they can then level up faster, because that's another major complaint I see about the game. Another thing is leveling is always, people complain about the grind and leveling. Not only are they increasing the speed through the constellations, they're also making it way easier to get the cosmic blessings so you can level up faster. Because like my low level account, this is the second time kind of doing the monthlies. I unlocked them last month, so I haven't really done them very much. I haven't been able to get any of the cosmic blessings because I can't get far enough through the monthlies to get them. But now I will, so that will really help speed up leveling my low level account. They're adding more rewards and more quests. They're planning to do more events. Like, overall, we're starting to see changes for Path of Champions. They said that they were moving to focusing on PvE. Last patch was still the last PvP focused patch. So moving forward, we're starting to see what they've been doing, and it is really encouraging, I guess would be one word, but like the future does look bright for Path of Champions. This seems like it's going to be a very, very good update to the game. And the devs are paying attention. They know the problems the game has, and they are trying to fix them. By interview standards, it was great. Didn't even know it was your first time too. It's amazing. Props. Yeah, I was like, I've obviously had job interviews before where I was kind of on the other side. I've never held an interview, and never for like a developer or anything. So I was trying to prepare as much as I could. Thank him for Nidalee and her updated appearance. Much better than League so far. Yeah, Nidalee is amazing. Real question, will the Constellations bow to Aesol? I mean, people are going to be stronger than Aesol, I think. The best star is to increase to Epic and Legendary because helps all champions in your roster. Does it? can I find that? Okay, not there. Not there. All right, we went past it. Okay, that's still XP there. Oh, that's a... Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed the joke that it was a pun about his voice line. Yeah, that was... Didn't realize that. This is actually, yeah, that is actually a very good point that I didn't think about. If this does hit your entire account, that does make this way better. Because like these other three, all three of these hit your whole account, because, well, kind of your whole account. This middle one is increasing your leveling speed for all of Shadow Isles. This one is increasing regen for all Shadow Isles. So it does make sense that this could hit your whole account. Which, while this isn't that big on its own, if you have multiple constellations all giving you this power, then that's huge. Like, yeah, it might just apply to Viego. And if it does, it's just like, okay, a nice little bonus. If it applies to everyone and you start getting multiple of these, then it becomes insane. So we'll have to see, and would be nice to get some feedback from the devs maybe on what that is. But if that hits your whole account, then that is nuts. I don't think Constellation will be more powerful than the Space Lizard. I mean, already we have champions more powerful than Acehole. Like, Nidalee with Spectral Scissors is like the most powerful thing in the game. So, there's that. If Zoe ever gets a pick release, her constellation should be her using the stars as a jump rope. It doesn't specify anything, so it might only apply to Viego. Yes, like, we don't know. This could just be Viego. It could be your whole account. We don't know either way. My only problem with constellations is how much of a grind will it be to unlock advanced levels? Because I'm sure of one thing, if it's a lot more grinding, new players may take months to reach high levels in the constellations, as these players won't have enough champion to get far in the monthlies. If that's the only way for currency to unlock constellations, so there's no chance of new players getting in less than 5 or 6 months. The thing is, new players can still have a fun time playing the game up to this point. It's not like a new player has to get someone to 6 stars. And that was kind of an issue I have with Lissandra, is some people being like complaining that it's too difficult with low level champions, and it's like, yes, that's kind of the point. You're kind of not supposed to do this, or like, it's supposed to be an end game challenge. Like, if you want to do it on your low level characters, you can, but it's supposed to be hard. Like, that is the whole point. And it's the same with clearing all of the monthlies. It's supposed to be something that people can get in and push as far as they can. And sure, like, a maxed out player should be able to clear the monthlies, but lower level players like complaining that they can't complete the monthlies, it's like they literally made it as a end game system for people with maxed out accounts. It's like, it's not necessarily meant for you yet. Like, do as much as you can, but completing the monthlies is supposed to be an end game challenge. Viego is coming to Path of Champions next week. With the Constellations update, should be really, really big. But yeah, so much better if it applies to the entire roster. Yeah, if this hits your entire roster, then it's massive. Wait, if the 20 constellations, then 100% epic item. I mean, for one, we don't know that these are going to be mirrored in all other champions. So, like, maybe one of the other champions is going to have
you earn 5% more gold, as a random example. So just because Viego has this doesn't mean everyone has it. As far as Brian, the developer, he specified that everyone is going to have like the mana soul, mana flow. Everyone's going to have that for their 5th star power, but that doesn't mean everyone's going to have these ones up here. So new players arguably have a better time to get us to the point. They made the thing for new players to star up faster. Yeah, like new players are going to have an even better experience because, like, for my low level account, every time I do the daily quest, like, I get a bronze vault to give me more shards, and it's pretty much always going to hit someone worthwhile or always hit someone and not get duplicated. So lower level players are going to have, well, everyone's going to have plenty of ways to get new upgrades, but for lower level players, those aren't going to be duplicates, so they're going to be able to catch up pretty fast. Yes. So we were watching the interview I did yesterday with a developer that's on YouTube. It was very good. Hey Toast, with the new monthly rewards coming on the 22nd or with the fresh month, just working through them and thought I might wait. So they didn't say, but the other times they've done this, it's always the next month that the changes go in. So like for me, I didn't really think it was worth asking because I just didn't really think about it because it's always been the next month. So technically they didn't say, but they've always done it that the next month is when the monthlies will get adjusted for the rewards. They've never changed the rewards partway through a month because that would be terrible for everyone else that's already done them. So I'm wondering, for those of us who already did the monthlies in May, do we get upgraded rewards retroactively? Yeah, it shouldn't be that case. It should just be next month is when the new rewards come in. Is he worth the hype? Definitely seems that way. You get 20 Aesol fragments from the 30th fight. Well, right now it's 40 frags at the 30th fight. Yeah, you're going to get less Aesol fragments overall from the monthlies, but you're going to get way more stuff in general from the monthlies. Like, you can get 2 platinum vaults, which is huge. Like, that's massive. Yeah, I really like the extra vault in the daily quests. That's potentially 1,500 more Stardust at the end of each month for free. In other words, incredible. Yeah, they're adding tons of rewards. Getting a reward 5 wins of like every 5 wins for the monthly. Crazy. Double platinum vaults is huge. Like, yes, it's going to be more of a grind for the constellations. 100%. And that's one thing I was worried about before, is I thought they were going to add constellations and then not add more rewards. But the fact that they're adding constellations, but now they're adding way more stuff for you to be able to get, should be really, really good. And also, that was one thing people worried about, is like, oh, they're going to add this grind, and then they're going to sell us ways to skip the grind, but they're still going to make the grind really terrible if you don't spend money. That does not at all look what's happening. Like, yes, it's more of a grind. Yes, they're going to be selling us bundles so that we can try to speed up the grind. But unlike a lot of games, they're not making the grind worse. They're adding more stuff for us to be able to get. Like, a lot more. Like, there's so many things in this patch that I never would have expected. Such as, like, them adding rewards to the other daily quests. Like, that alone is huge. And then constellations have way more impact on your entire account than just the champion. Like, it's crazy. So it's really good what we've oh, that's the wrong one. What we've seen so far. And I'm really excited about the game. I think we're really moving in a good direction. It was also really nice talking with the developer, because he genuinely seems like he cares about the game, and he loves the game, loves the community, which is awesome. This is, again, the only developer I've really interacted with, especially like face to face, but as far as he goes, I think the game is in pretty good hands. Do you think they'll fix the Silver Reliquary Stardust bug from monthlies? Oh, where you get extra Stardust? I don't know, because if not, we'll have so much Stardust by the end of the month. Yeah, that's something I don't really want to bring up bugs, especially ones that help us in our favor. I'm not like, oh, by the way, you know about the extra Stardust. Are we going to get rid of that? Like, I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to bring up Spectral Scissors being like, hey, have you seen how broken this is? Yeah, because even though they would probably change it regardless, I also don't want the entire community mad at me for bringing up broken things for them to fix. So yeah, hopefully they don't fix it, but wasn't something I was going to ask about. Oh, I'm sure they're already aware. Like they look at the community, so they know about it already. It's not like me telling them. They're going, oh, I had no idea. Like that's not going to happen. Like when we see a post about it, they see the post about it too. But yeah, it's nice that we're getting that. Also, a little bit spoiler for what I'm going to be doing later today. I'm going to try out Spectral Scissors on Gwen, because it's like her relic, and it's like I've never actually played them with her before, and it's like I feel like I probably should try. It should be decent, but it's kind of silly. I mean, we normally end in the first attack anyways, but it's something. Thank you all for hanging out, though. I'm really looking forward to this next patch. I think it's going to be super impactful. We're going to have tons of content, and I can't wait to dive into the other constellations. I'm always very careful with not getting too overhyped because I don't want to get disappointed. So I try to keep my expectations pretty low. So for me, I did not have high expectations at all for constellations. That's just the way it was. Seeing one of them, though, at least, as long as the other ones can kind of live up to Viego, then this is going to be amazing. There's so much they're fixing and improving in the game. It's amazing. And they are now focusing on the game. So while this is a great patch, and while I don't think the patch after is going to be like as big, because this is a really, really big patch, every single patch now should be fully focused on making Path of Champions better. So this is incredible and probably the best time to be playing the game, at least as long as you like Path of Champions. So look forward to that. Also, one thing I haven't really announced in videos yet, but I am going to be streaming when the new patch drops. So like I'm going to be streaming a lot, like the entire time. Before, I was trying to still make videos for when the new patch came out, but I was just having too much fun streaming. I had developers coming in and talking. That's how I actually had the connection with Brian, as he came into my chat and actually like hung out for a bit, subscribed. So yeah, I'll be streaming the launch. So the entire time it's launched, that'll be happening. Probably with that though, I probably will start streaming later. Like right now I stream, like it was like 4 or 5 hours of me streaming before the patch even hit. So I'll still stream before the patch, but probably not as early. Anyways, thank you all for hanging out. We'll see about streaming tomorrow. So maybe 1 hour before. Yeah, 1 to 2 hours before is probably what I'll do. But thank you all for hanging out. I'm not sure about streaming tomorrow. I definitely won't be streaming the weekend. But everyone, look forward to next week. It should be amazing. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.